Hi everyone, in this tutorial we're going to be creating animation and rendering. After we did the camera and lighting for this interior, it's time to create an animation for my camera to view a different and a small animation and walk through this interior scene. First of all, before we start creating any animation, we need to set our time configuration. Go to this icon, time configuration, and I'm gonna make sure in my case I'm gonna be using PAL, which is 25 frames per second, and in here I'm gonna use from 0 to 100 frames, which means 4 seconds. After I set my time configuration, it's time to animate my camera. So what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna select my camera, I'm gonna turn on auto key, which is the shortcut is N, and then I'm gonna move my camera from here and just gonna move it a bit to here, and my target also I'm gonna move it from here to here. So that's it. And actually just gonna repeat that. I just have to move my time frame to 100 and then move my camera a bit forward, and the same thing in here, my target a bit backwards in here. So after I'm done, I'm gonna turn on off my auto key, and now I can just view my slight animation in here, very subtle animation. Okay, but what I need to do also, I'm just gonna turn on my auto key again and go to this tab, which is the camera, and I'm gonna tilt my camera because it's a bit tilted from last time what we did. So I need to make it go straight back, and so it's gonna be tilted and then go straight and move a bit. So I think that's it. I just have to do one more thing. I'm gonna move a bit the camera off, not that much. Okay, I think that's good. So that's gonna be my animation. I'm gonna play it, and as you can see, that's gonna be my subtle animation of this moving from this angle to the other angle with a small tilt. After we finish the animation, we need to go to the render setup to render it out, final render. So I'm gonna pause in here. To go to the render setup, you can go in here, this icon, or you can go rendering, render setup, or shortcut, which is F10. So I'm gonna go in here, and this tab, we have to go to the comment tab. I need to do the following. First of all, I'm gonna be rendering an animation, which is gonna be not a single frame, it's gonna be a range of frames. I can use either this active time segment, which is gonna read from 0 to 100, or if I have any other suggestion, I can fill it up. If I need to render from, let's say, frame 20 to frame 200, I can just put it in here. In my case, I'm gonna render active time segment from 0 to 100. Second thing, I'm gonna be rendering HD, or we can be rendering, let's say, PAL D1 or NTSC D1. In my case, I'm gonna be rendering HD, and for my HD, I'm gonna be rendering not full HD, I'm gonna be rendering half HD. Okay, just for simple, so I won't have to wait a lot for renders. After that, I'm gonna go down, I'm gonna go to the renders output, I'm gonna go files, and I'm gonna go to my desktop, and I'm gonna save it in here. Just go save it, camera animation. Okay, so camera animation, I'm gonna save it as a TIFF file, which is good. Or actually, let me save it as a movie directly, so I won't waste time. So I'm gonna save it as camera animation.avi, gonna save it, and my codec, I'm gonna keep it as is. Okay, so what happened, actually, I didn't save the file, I just saved the URL, the link for the path. So now after I'm done with this, all I need to do is just press render in here, or render this button, or you can go rendering and render. Shortcut is Shift Q, it's not F9. F9 is a quick render, F10, Shift Q, which is production render. In this case, I'm gonna render, and I have to wait for this to finish. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna pause in here and then come back when the render is done. Okay, and we're back now after the render is finished. So now I did my render, which is 100 frames, and we can just see it in here, and this is my animation as we did created it, rendered and saved as AVI format. We can always render it also as a sequence images, let's say TIFF, and then we composite it via, let's say, After Effects or Premiere, and then to finalize it to have the final result. Definitely this is a very low res and small size, because just not to waste time on rendering for this test. Thank you for listening and have a good day.